Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are live and we are set to go for the Pepsi 400 at the Daytona International Speedway on NASCAR 06 Total Team Control. It is an X Cup Series race of the Do It for Dale Series, and this is going to be an epic one tonight under the lights at, of course, the great well, not in the Great American Race, but at this very fast, exciting Super Speedway. The Super Speedway racing in the Cup Series in particular, and NASCAR 06 has been super entertaining with one of the best Daytona 500s on channel history. And then also, of course, following that up with the Aaron's 499 at Talladega earlier this season, where, of course, we had a photo finish, a 3-wide photo finish at that, in which Dale Earnhardt Jr. went on to victory lane. What will happen in tonight's race? No practice, but we will qualify on the stream, so let me make sure the setup is A-OK. Sorry for a little bit of a late update. My workout was taking a little bit longer than what I would have liked, obviously, but nonetheless, I got that in. We are good to go today, and we are about to see some racing. I think the setup is going to be alright for qualifying, and then I'll loosen it up a hair going into the race. Or, sorry, tighten it up a little bit going into the race. Can't really adjust the downforce on the super speedways, though. Billy Kramer, Lade Solinsky, Billy Carjoy, Mark DeMars, Patrick Shadley, and others, welcome to the stream, and thanks for being the first in the chat tonight. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to make his way off of pit road and try to win the Pepsi 400 today at Daytona. He came so close to winning the Daytona 500, was leading late in the race, and with about 5 laps to go, got caught up in the big one while battling for the lead with Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle went on to win the Daytona 500. The Roush cars have been extremely fast on the super speedway so far this season. Mark Martin won one of the dual races at Daytona to start the season. Greg Biffle won the Daytona 500. Of course, Dale Jr. might have won the Aaron's 499 at Talladega, but the drivers he finished 3 wide with at the line to the checkered flag, Kurt Busch and Carl Edwards. I had a brain fart for a second there. Kurt Busch and Carl Edwards were the 2 drivers for Roush Fenway Racing. 2 laps to try and set the quick time. Jr. trying to run that middle upper groove through 3 and 4, at least on this get up to speed lap. And may do it again on lap number 1. Just trying to keep this momentum up. And actually, he's going to run to the bottom this time through turns 1 and 2. More of the middle line, I guess. Showing some real speed. He sat on the pole in the Daytona 500 earlier this season, so I would not doubt that he could qualify on the pole under the lights at Daytona as well. Nice, the Monkey 92 Hammer, welcome to the stream. A little tight for Dale Jr. getting into turn 3 that time. Lap 1 is not going to be the quick time. He's going to have to step it up on lap 2. He qualified 12th at Talladega, 10th on lap 1, so he's guaranteed a top 10 starting spot. And he is going to try to hook that bottom immediately starting this lap. A little tight in 3 and 4. Stays in the gas. Goes up the hill a little bit. May have to work on that before the race starts. But for qualifying, he is not bad through 1 and 2. Definitely could have been better. And he is challenging for the pole down the back straightaway right now as they enter towards turns 3 and 4. A lot better through 3 and 4 that time. Nailed it. Keeps the car stuck to the bottom of the racetrack. I want to clip that apron, of course. Risk spinning out. A little wide off the exit of turn 4 compared to what he wanted. And down to the start-finish line. Into the tri-oval. Got to go to the apron. 48.035. That will be 7th. Fastest for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Quicker on lap 2, but not quickest. And it'll be Jeff Gordon for the 2nd straight race, starting on the pole for Hendrick Motorsports. So Gordon and Tony Stewart will be on the front row for tonight's race. Now, Jeff Gordon has not won yet this season, though he did lead the most laps at Sonoma last night. Did not win. He led 83 of the 110 laps. Dale Jr. led just 18 laps in the race, won it from the rear of the field. Tony Stewart has 1 win this season for himself. Now, setup-wise, it was a little tight, but I'm scared to make it too loose, because I remember from the Daytona 500, it was loose at the end of the race. So, I think I'm going to leave the setup the way it is now and try to deal with it. If I have to lift going into the corner, so be it. It's definitely going to be a sketchy start not having any practice. Daytona was definitely a lot harder on the handling side of things than Talladega from what I remember in this game. And I think it's just because it's more narrow. Don't have as much asphalt to work with. They're both difficult because they're both bumpy tracks in this game. Jeff Gordon on the inside of the front row will lead the field to the green. We are underway in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. from the inside of row 4 is already going to take it 3 wide to the bottom of the Roush cars. And Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards. Potentially 3 wide into turns 1 and 2 underneath Jimmy Johnson, who crowded him just a little bit. That's going to cost Jr. getting up to speed as well as Johnson just a little bit. Jr. still picked up 2 spots. Rusty Wallace down to the bottom of the track. And the top 4 are pulling away after that stack up and a little bit of contact in turns 1 and 2 between Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Johnson started 3rd, Jr. 7th, up to 5th. Johnson started 3rd and is back to, it looks like, 8th place right now. One car in the wall off turn 4 up ahead, and I believe it was pole sitter Jeff Gordon. And that's going to allow for Tony Stewart to lead lap 1 of the Pepsi 400 under the lights at Daytona tonight. Ice the Monkey 92, Hammer, Dark Crypto, welcome into the stream as well. I think we're going to have another fun super speedway race in the Cup Series on this game tonight. Will we see potentially another photo finish like we did at Talladega? Jr. a little loose. He clipped the apron big time. Big wiggle from Dale Jr. Hangs on to the race car. He is going to lose a lot of momentum on the back straightaway and loses 3 positions back to 8th. 1 spot back of where he started. Lack of practice is already kind of paying off right now, even though he was not the fastest, but he was fast in qualifying. Must have been a stack up outside the top 10 at the start of the race. Charles Sasser, welcome to the stream. So you're going to stay clear of Matt Kenseth going into turns 3 and 4. Brian Vickers in the 25 cars behind Dale Jr. Second place right now. Tonight's tournament. Are you talking about for your league? Your golf league? Or did you get done golfing now and you're waiting on others to finish in the tournament tonight? Junior's definitely not as good of a lead car in this pack, and I wonder if his setup just isn't right for the nighttime conditions, which could be the case. You consider daytime, it's usually a little bit slicker than in the nighttime. Brian Vickers to the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. now. Jr. with a good run down the back straightaway. Going to pull a block on Vickers to the inside. Stay in front of the 25 car into turns 3 and 4. A lot of single file racing at the front of the field. But anyway, what I was going to say with the track conditions being cooler under the lights versus in the hot sun, I'm thinking that that is tightening the car up more for Dale Jr. than what it was in the Daytona 500, despite the fact it's the same setup. On the way home from work, well, safe travels on your way home, and hopefully enjoy tonight's race, Patrick. Santiago Kid, welcome into the stream as well. Most dangerous track, yeah, that is very true. It is a long race, as the Cup Series races typically are, although this is 400 miles and not 500. 2 a.m. or something it ended. I honestly don't remember the 2005 Pepsi 400 too much. Like, as far as, like, where it was and, like, watching it and remember watching it. So I couldn't tell you what time it got over with. I can guarantee this race is not going to get done at 2 a.m., so you won't have to worry about that. Especially on a Wednesday night, that would not be ideal. It wouldn't be ideal regardless of the circumstances. The cars behind Dale Jr., they're not really quick enough to pass him, even though they have runs from behind. Jr. just wants to catch a car in front of him if he can. So He tried to share draft his way towards the front of the field. Tony Stewart's led the first 5 laps of this race so far. Junior started 7th, is in 8th. Got up to 5th initially on the start. Fell back a couple spots. Rusty Wallace scrapes the wall off of turn 4 right in front of Jimmy Johnson. Caution's out for the first time today. That did not take long. Lap 6 will be the first yellow in tonight's race. 3 wide off turn 4, and it's the 43 of Jeff Green. I believe he pinched Michael Waltrip into the wall. Those two are rivals with each other, so no surprise there. That Waltrip and Green make contact off the exit of turn 4. Green goes around for a spin. Luckily, nobody else collected. Junior will stay out of the pits here, as will the rest of the field. Outsider, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Tony Stewart was very good at Daytona, especially in Joe Gibbs Racing equipment. Daytona, Talladega, he was a really good plate racer. Just could never win the Daytona 500. Look at this restart for Dale Jr. on the outside, getting by Jimmy Johnson and Rusty Wallace and right in line behind the 97 of Kurt Busch. Doesn't want to make contact with the 48 car this time, so that way he doesn't have to worry about stalling out as far back on the restart, keep his momentum up. But he's going to actually lose a spot to Matt Kenseth on the bottom by going to the outside, so that may have backfired for Dale Jr. He's a little slower going from 3rd to 4th, and now the 31 car of Jeff Burton's looking underneath him, but can't quite get there into turns 3 and 4. A lot better restart for Dale Jr. this time than that initial start of the race when everybody was 2 by 2. I believe we had 9 or 10 cautions in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. We did have 10 cautions in the Daytona 500 earlier this season. This is the shortest of all 4 super speedway races this season. The other 3 are 500 miles, this one 400. Dale Jr. share drafting, in fact, behind Matt Kenseth in the 17. Jr. needs to keep the track position, though. That is big, even on super speedway in the Gen 4 era. Everything's a little safer towards the front of the field. 142 a.m. That's still pretty darn close. Big run to the outside goes Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jimmy Johnson throws a block going into turn 3. A bump draft. Johnson's up into the wall. Can't really bump draft too well in the corners with the Gen 4 cars, especially on this bumpy Daytona surface, and Johnson couldn't hang on to it there. And that really chopped the momentum off that Dale Jr. had going into the corner as well. A lot of jockeying for position up ahead of these guys. Bobby Labonte, Scott Riggs right in line behind the 8 of Dale Jr. into turns 3 and 4. Jr. on the outside behind Johnson, staying in the draft. Junior's car's handling on the outside really well, at least in the early going. Johnson to the inside to block Dale Jr., trying to keep him behind. And trying to get back to the inside and around the 17 of Kenseth. Bobby Labonte behind the 8 as well. There's no help for Matt Kenseth currently. Labonte in the wall off turn 4. Johnson clears Kenseth off the exit of turn 4 as well. Dale Jr. with a big run to the outside of the 17 car in the tri-oval. Had a chance to go with Kenseth back to the inside of Jimmy Johnson. Didn't do it. Dale Jr. just pulls clear of Kenseth. And he goes back to the outside almost immediately because he didn't know if he was clear or not. He was. Probably should have just stayed down there, but he wanted to play it safe. Ryan Newman, not Scott Riggs, was the car behind Labonte when Labonte got in the wall at turn 4. Newman got around him. Look at the run for Junior. He clears Kenseth on the back straightaway, clears Jimmy Johnson going into turn 3, and lifts to keep it off the back bumper of Rusty Wallace into turns 3 and 4. Didn't want to bump draft him in the middle of the corner. Right back to where he started in 7th place. I think he was talking about more dangerous tracks in NASCAR. Would definitely be on the super speedways. I mean, people still get hurt on the intermediate tracks. Look at Carson Hocevar a couple weeks ago in the Truck Series. Spencer Boyd broke his collarbone back at, what was it, Vegas earlier this season? Dale Jr. to the inside of Rusty Wallace, clears him into turns 3 and 4. Got to clear the 97 of Kurt Busch as well. And Dale Jr.'s inside the top 5 for the first time since lap 1. And Wallace cleared Busch as well, following Dale Jr. Jr. is maybe not close enough to draft off of the 38 car of Elliott Sadler in 4th. Well, never mind, he's closing in on him. Through turns 1 and 2, got to be careful. You don't want to hit that apron in the middle of the corner. Jr. right on that yellow line, but he's trying to be desperate with this draft. He doesn't want to lose the top 4. And he's got a massive run on Elliott Sadler towards turn 3. He's going to look to the inside. Clips the apron, but he got way out of the gas. Before and after he went back up onto the surface, that kept the car from wanting to get really loose. But when you get out of the gas at Daytona and Talladega, with it being a restrictor plate racetrack, you're obviously going to lose a lot of momentum. We'll see if he can stay with the draft of the 38 of Sadler and try to build that momentum back up again. It looks like he is slowly being able to do so. Tony Stewart still out in front at Daytona, 16 laps complete in this race. Coke 600 was definitely long this year too, yep. That was the overall race itself though. I think the 05 Pepsi 400 is more for rain. Dale Jr. around the outside of the 38 of Sadler, now down to the inside underneath Biffle. Into the corner, had to lift because Jr. automatically felt the car was going to get tight in line behind Jeff Gordon and through the bumps. And as he lifted, that might keep him from getting around the 16 of Biffle. It does, but he squeezes barely in line between the 16 and the 38 now to hang on to 4th. And Biffle being the Daytona 500 champion this season, obviously I think that's a good car to be with at Daytona tonight. Jr. on the bottom in turns 1 and 2, underneath the 16 of Biffle, trying to desperately draft off the 24 of Jeff Gordon out in front of them. Is he going to be able to clear Biffle off the exit of the corner? Sadler is down with Dale Jr. Jr. refraining from clearing Biffle, and now has a giant run on the back straightaway behind the 24 of Gordon, who he battled for with the win last night at Infineon Raceway. Jr. trying to go for an 8th win this season tonight. And what a win it would be if he can do so. Sadler also was able to get around Biffle through 3 and 4 that last time for 4th. And when will Dale Jr. make his move on Gordon? Stewart to the outside. Gordon going to follow him. Dale Jr. as well up there. Biffle, Sadler down towards the bottom, taking the shortest way around in turns 1 and 2. Jr. backing up to get a little bit of a run. Doesn't have a lot of help from behind. Sadler's not directly behind him, but here comes the move from Dale Jr. to the inside of Gordon. He may be trying to go for the lead and get both of them. Into turn 3. Dale Jr. underneath Tony Stewart. He's going to slide wide and clear a little too wide. He's still in the lead. I have no clue how Tony Stewart did not cross Dale Jr. over off of turn 4. He didn't need to. He still had the run on the outside, and Jr. did not lead that lap. Tony Stewart still led every lap in this race. Jr. carried so much speed going into turn 3, and he couldn't hold it. He didn't want to lift, and it costed him. He still stays in 2nd, though, so I guess it was a net gain, because he was 3rd going off into the corner on the inside, but now he's behind Tony Stewart in the 20 car. Gonna drastically look to the outside. Stewart couldn't block him on the back straightaway, and Junior's gonna be clear and pulls to the bottom this time. Now he's cleared through turns 3 and 4, has the clean air himself. Junior Nation on their feet off turn 4. And this is gonna be the first lap Tony Stewart has not led today at the start-finish line. Davion West, welcome into the chat. If you're just tuning in, Stewart led the first 19 laps, Junior led lap 20, one caution at lap 6 for a spin off turn 4 involving Jeff Green off the front bumper and kind of alongside the 15 of Michael Waltrip towards the back of the pack. Elliott Sadler in the 38 car looking to the inside of Tony Stewart now for 2nd place. Junior staying on the outside. He doesn't want to throw the block yet. Yep, that is 5 bonus points as well. Junior coming into this race 4th in the standings, just 102 out of 1st after Carl Edwards blew an engine at Infineon yesterday. Edwards is is still the points leader, but he had over a one-race lead in the point standings before that engine failure last night. It was just the third finish Edwards has had outside the top 10 this year, and the second straight between last night and then the race before that at Michigan on Monday rather. And Junior's going to be the hard car to pass. Next NASCAR race to attend, are you asking me, or? My next NASCAR race, out of technicality, is going to be Mid-Ohio for the truck race. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. I'll be at Mid-Ohio this weekend for the IndyCar race on Sunday. And then the Mid-Ohio truck race the following weekend on Saturday. Next Cup race I'm going to is the Michigan race in August. So it's going to be a little bit. But I'll be going to a lot of different races. I was just at my local dirt track Saturday night. Hopefully I'll have the vlog up by tomorrow. Or sometime tomorrow. Greg Biffle trying to lead his first laps at Daytona since scoring the win in the 500. Led a lot of laps that day too. Lutt wheel for second within the top 5 after Stewart lost the lead, and Tony Stewart's actually back to 5th with Gordon blocking him on the outside. I don't plan on going to the Southern 500 this year. I went there in 2020. It was a lot of fun. Darlington's a great racetrack. Very old school feel to the track itself and the facility itself. You're underneath the bleachers, it almost doesn't feel like a NASCAR track. It almost kind of feels like a local short track. Martinsville kind of had that same manner to it. But I think because there was more people at Martinsville when I went last year compared to Darlington in 2020. Because Darlington 2020, they only had 8,000 fans in attendance because it was during COVID times. I was lucky enough that I was one of the 8,000 that were able to go. Biffle in the wall off turn 4, Sadler to second, Tony Stewart follows Sadler on the inside to third. And Gordon got stuck behind the 16 having to lift. 5 consecutive laps led now for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Remember, the fuel runs are a little bit shorter in this era in the super speedway racing for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. The reason why is because in the mid-2000s, it was a way of NASCAR trying to break the packs up a little bit more because of the dangerous restrictor plate style of racing, of course, that we would see. Have more frequent green flag pit stops. So we're probably only going to be able to go about 34 to 38 laps, and then you're going to see the field pit. Nowadays, they could probably go close to 40 to 45 laps on a full tank of fuel at Daytona under green. There was a caution at lap 6 that everybody was able to save a little bit of fuel. This is obviously the longest of the 2 green flag runs so far on the day. We'll see if any tire strategies come about for Dale Earnhardt Jr. during the first stop of the day as well. Grayson Light 158, welcome to the stream. Sadler on the inside of Tony Stewart right now for second. Probably going to get there. Dale Jr. just kind of controlling both lanes as easy as he can. Just remember, for those of you wondering as well, I have not won at Daytona in a Cup Series points race on a NASCAR EA Sports video game on the channel. 0 for 11 coming into tonight's race. I have not won one on NASCAR 06. I'm 0 for 1 at Daytona, which was only the Daytona 500 on this season. I went 0 for 5 on NASCAR 05 in both a 400 mile and, of course, the Daytona 500. In that game, NASCAR Thunder 04, I went 0 for 5 in the 5 points paid races for the Cup Series. I have gotten one dual race win on NASCAR Thunder 04, but that was obviously not a points race. It was a 50-lap dual race at Daytona. But that's even the only Cup win I've had. The other 2 dual races I lost. I should say the other 4 dual races I lost. wouldn't quite say 50 to 55 laps. I don't think they ever were able to go that far. Maybe a couple laps beyond 50. If you count caution laps, then they could, if they had a couple cautions in that stretch. Oh, Biffle nearly got turned off turn 4 from the 38 of Elliott Sadler. And Dale Jr. is going to pull away down the backstretch and into turn 3. Keeping his momentum up on throttle, of course. He's got a 2-second lead ahead of the field. Nearly a wreck at the front. Greg Biffle almost got turned by the 38. I don't know if he threw a block on Sadler or wasn't clear and they made contact that way or what the case, but we stayed green. No caution through that. Junior can relax for a little bit. Focus on going back to hit his marks again. I have no clue what the weather's supposed to be at my house this weekend. Or even on Sunday when I go to Mid-Ohio. It could be raining for all I know. I don't know. At least they'd still race. I'd like to go to a rain race once just to see what it's like now that I've been to regular road courses. Joseph then, welcome to the stream. Can I loosen up the car a little bit? I might be able to, but honestly I'm fine with it now. And the plan is, under the first green flag stop of the day, is to go right sides only. That will loosen the car up naturally, having the old left side tires. So I think we'll be alright. Quarter tank of fuel left at lap 30. Jeff Gordon's up to second right now, trying to lead the charge from that pack. And they're going to have a big run on Dale Jr. when they get there. Jr. having that big lead of about 2 seconds. Ryan Newman up to third, right behind him. Newman's got to run, looks low under Gordon before Gordon could get to the inside of Dale Jr. Made for an easy block for Jr. on Gordon as Gordon had to desperately block the 12. Going to the outside. Nobody went with him but was able to get to the bottom quickly. And Dale Jr. will kind of follow out of his rear view, if that makes any sense. Mirror driving. It's like a late 80s race at Daytona. 2 seconds. Yeah. It closed in quick, though. It only lasted for a few laps. I have no clue where Sadler and Biffle are anymore. They lost a lot of momentum. And maybe those cars back there in 5th and 6th. Newman up to second, gets by Gordon on the front stretch, and he's going to have a shot to try and lead his first lap of the day. Stewart led the first 19. Dale Jr.'s led every lap since. Zay car's fast when he's out in front. As was Stewart. Trying to put an end, personally, for my own winless streak at Daytona in the Cup Series on these EA Sports NASCAR video games. On the 12th attempt will it be the one that I can finally win. Long ways to go yet, though. Not even 25% of the way done. We've had one yellow so far today. We're probably going to have more. Tony Stewart got tight. Newman crosses him over off turn 4. Gets right back into second. 32 laps complete. Of course, the more laps Dale Jr. can lead, the better. 4 laps led, of course. Trying to get as many bonus points as possible. Who knows, maybe he can take the points lead again tonight. He's only had the points lead once this season for one single race. Edwards took it right back away from him. And the points lead was only 11 points over Edwards. Wasn't even a big one, but it was a points lead nonetheless. Trying to fight back after that win at Sonoma yesterday and Edwards DNFing. He is now only 102 points out of first, in fourth. The top 7 are all within one race worth of points from each other, all within 156 points, which is insane considering the fact that this is the 17th race of the season and we have just 9 races left in the regular season after tonight's event. So that battle for the number 1 seed is pretty crazy right now. Highly competitive season so far. Junior may have won 6 races, well 7 after last night. May have won 7 races, but we've had 8 different winners. Junior just needs a little bit better consistency, and he's trying to get back on that trend here. He's won 2 of the last 3 races. He's also had 3 finishes outside the top 30 in the last 5 races, excluding just the 2 he has won in that stretch, which were, again, in the last 3. It's a lot easier to block when they're single file right now, too, versus if they were to get double file and maybe even 3 wide behind Dale Jr. A little more calmer towards the front of the field with it being the early going of the race. I don't think you could blame anybody. Bogey Snoffers, welcome to the stream. That's a name right there. Boggle Snoffer, sorry. I didn't realize that was an L. And Jeff Burton in the 31 car towards the front of the field. We haven't seen him really compete for many wins this season. By the way, cars just pitted off turn 4 that last lap, and I think more cars are going to pit this time by. Can't save as much fuel if you're not in the draft behind other cars as well. I think Tony Stewart is going to come down this time along with Jeff Burton. New Joji, welcome to the stream. Race still be going on at 10? I'd say so. It's going to depend on how many cautions we get. Car's going a lap down right now, all cycling off of pit road. If caution came out, they're going to get trapped. Junior going to stay out as long as he can on fuel. It's going to be, again, a 2-tire stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Right sides only when he does pit. Okay, that's going to loosen the car up just a little bit. Hopefully it's not going to be too loose. Right front wearing out. Of course, he doesn't want to lock the tires up either. A couple cars side by side coming out of the pit lane. Harvick was almost down in the grass. Had to pull clear the 24 of Gordon getting into turn 1. I think that was Jeff Gordon. Mayfield on the bottom, going to get right in front of Greg Biffle before moving up to the outside lane. Biffle had to lift going into turn 3 as a result. Junior stays out another lap as the field pits behind him. Michael Waltrip will be on his way in the 15, as well as the one of Martin Truex Jr., lap 38. Junior still staying out in case we catch a caution. Got the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield right behind him. Almost got to the inside of the 8 of Earnhardt, but not quite. Joe Nemechek coming out of the pit lane on the bottom of the track. Dale Jr. will pit this time by. He's not going to stay out another lap. He'll pit at lap 38 this time by. So it's about 35 green flag laps that Dale Jr. was able to go on fuel. Doesn't want to lock those tires up off turn 4. Going to take his time, getting into the pit lane. Right side tires only for Earnhardt. He is on pit road, no issues there, no adjustments. Just going to go right sides only, and hopefully it's a clean stop. They did not have that at Sonoma in the last race. Clean stop. Should have no issue with Dale Earnhardt Jr. cycling off of pit road with the lead. Down on the apron of the racetrack. Little track position game for Dale Jr. taking right sides only. He was the last lead lap car to pit, so everybody's back on the lead lap now and has cycled through our first set of pit stops tonight. already feel the car a little bit looser than what it was before with the older left side tires. Make Kevin Harvick great again. Hashtag forever. Welcome to the stream. Supposed to be 86 Sunday? Oh, that's not bad. About what it was at Gateway a few weeks ago when I was there. Actually, it felt cooler than what it was, honestly. We're going to take our first field pass of the race today when we get back to the start-finish line this time by. And we'll see what the one car of Martin Truex Jr. is doing and what position he is in currently. And right now, Truex is in 30th. On the inside of the 43 of Jeff Green. Making a pass in the tri-oval for 29th. One car got loose right ahead of Michael Waltrip. Waltrip's going to move out of the way for his teammate to get underneath him. I think Kenny Walls got loose right in front of Jamie McMurray. McMurray got out of the gas, let him go. Truex on the outside to get by the 42. Down towards the bottom into turns 3 and 4. Drives underneath of Kenny Wallace and right in line behind the 11 of Jason Leffler in 25th. It's amazing how much more grip Truex's car has on 4 tires versus Dale Jr. with 2. I mean, the field was going to catch me regardless on the older left side tires and with no drafting help. I'd rather do it then than when I'm on older tires in the middle of the pack. So I don't trust the AI as much in this game. Truex is about 12 seconds off the lead, by the way. Staying right in line behind Leffler, who's running the bottom, making it a little easier for Truex. It feels like the 11 and the 1 are picking up sometime. They're doing something right. Almost got underneath Leffler that time, but lifted to let Leffler back in line. Leffler was committed to throwing a block regardless. Who knows, maybe the AI is quick enough rather than me. Oh, and Waltrip's got a problem. Michael Waltrip is blowing up and cautions out. I would not be surprised if it's the 15. Michael Waltrip may have just blown an engine on the back straightaway and caused a wreck. There was a big X over him. And somebody has lost control behind the pack at turns 3 and 4. And I'm not sure if it was Waltrip or not. It was. So maybe a flat tire for Waltrip, but whatever the case, caution's out for the second time today. And the second time Michael Waltrip has been involved. First time was with the 43 of Jeff Green off turn 4. That time an issue of some sort. And it's going to be interesting to see what Martin Truex Jr. does on pit road this time. I think he's going to stay out. We'll see if we can get past quite a few cars on the restart. Maybe get Truex inside the top 20, top 15 perhaps before switching back. I'm not sure if the 15 is going to be out of the race or not. And if he is, that's going to be unfortunate. As his rough season continues, just 2 top 10s so far for Waltrip. Green flag going to be back in the air. Yeah, Waltrip's out of the race. So something has happened to Michael Waltrip. Some sort of mechanical failure. Oh, man, there was a block by Leffler on the restart. Nearly turned himself. Goes down to the apron as the field's getting up to speed. That stacked up the 1 car of Martin Truex Jr. quite a bit. And Casey Mears going to get by on the outside. So it looks like our field pass is only going to be between the 1 and the 8 today after Waltrip's issue, bringing out that second caution, unfortunately. So we'll ride along a little more than just a couple more laps with Truex then. with that being said, not a good first 47 laps for Michael Waltrip today. How did Mikey save that? I don't know. As sideways as he was, I'm surprised he did too. Well, Dale Jr.'s lead's gone. That caution coming out. Still holds on to it, but the advantage he had over second on back is obviously out the window. Martin Truex Jr. with a run on the back straightaway. Got to get back to the inside of the 43 car of Jeff Green. Casey Mears in the 42, right in front of Truex. Truex will draft behind him. Leffler's very slow right now on the apron of the racetrack. I don't think he's gotten back up off the apron. I think he's just limping it around all the way through this field right now. These cars are probably going to catch him as he's off the pace. He's in desperate need of a caution. If he goes a lap down, he can get the free pass. And I don't see another car going a lap down anytime soon, so I think he'll be all right in that retrospect. Back straightaway, Truex to the outside of the 42. Casey Mears. Truex to draft with the 77 car of Travis Kvapil on the outside lane. Mears going to give Truex enough room off turn 4. He does. Doesn't aggressively side draft him. 3 more laps, so we'll go back to Dale Jr. at the front of the field. Truex lifting. He wants the 77 of Kvapil to get down to the bottom lane in front of him, but he's not doing it. He's staying at least in the middle. Better than what he was on the top side. Now he drops to the bottom on the back straightaway. Truex will try to pick him back up again. Mears is in the 41. He is. Did I say Mears? I meant McMurray. McMurray's in the 42. Mears in the next game in NASCAR 7 will be in the 42. Because Reed Sorensen will then pilot the 41 car in his rookie season. Kyle Busch is going to try to take it 3 wide. Back there. This is all one pack right now at the front of the field. 24 cars, and then McMurray kind of straggling. Trying to stay towards the back. Truex will move to the outside of the 77. Crisscross to the bottom of the 18 of Bobby Labonte. Lifts going into turns 3 and 4. One car shuffled out of lane. I think it was Brian Vickers in the 25 car. Truex going to get underneath him. Off turn 4, a little contact up ahead. Saw some sparks flying between the 2 of Rusty Wallace, I believe, is on the inside. I couldn't tell who was on the outside of him. Kyle Busch is on his outside. Truex blows by Casey Kane. Blows by Ricky Rudd. Clipped the apron and still held on. 3 wide to the bottom goes Truex. Back straightaway underneath Rusty Wallace, Kyle Busch. This one car is moving through the field off this restart. Now rides behind Mike Bliss in the 0 into 3 and 4. Gets by Nemechek for 16th. Nemechek bounces off the wall off turn 4. We'll stay with Truex for a little bit mid-pack right now. Just a little bit longer. Moving him forward. Oh. Squeezes Jeff Burton. Only because Waltrip's out of the race. Truex underneath the 0 of Mike Bliss. Full head of steam, and he's up to 14th off of turn 4. And And is he close enough behind the 41 of Casey Mears to draft off of him? That pack was starting to break up just a little bit. Into the tri-oval. Looks like Truex is hanging on. Yeah, we're going to see more Mike Bliss magic. I hope he gets into the chase somehow. Oh, Truex lifts. He lifted big time. Trying to keep it off the 41 of Mears. And he couldn't clear him as a result. Carried a lot of speed into the corner and had to lift. Still clears Mears though in 3 and 4 for 13th. He's a little too far behind Ryan Newman to draft off the 12th car. One more lap and then we'll go back to Dale Jr. for good next time. Well, not for good. We'll have another field pass a little later in the day. Moving up the track a little bit. Truex moving up there, trying to catch as much draft as he can off the 12th car. 12 lost a little ground on the cars ahead of him through turns 1 and 2, up in the marbles. But Truex is just close enough behind Newman after Newman went to the outside that last corner. And Truex follows the 12 car into turns 3 and 4. Dale Jr.'s led every lap from lap 19 to now. Starting to dominate this race at the front of the field. Truex to the inside of Ryan Newman in the tri-oval. For 12th, they'll make the pass. And we'll go to Dale Earnhardt Jr. Oh, that was a bad time to swap back to Dale Jr. As soon as I got the gas, the car went up the racetrack. And new leader, Kurt Busch. Should have waited till the back straight. Get back into it. The left rear is starting to wear out on Dale Jr.'s race car just a little bit. His left side's a little older. Oh man, Matt Kenseth just squeezed the 8 car into the wall. He did not give him any room off turn 4. Junior back to 4th. A couple Hendrick cars, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon behind him. Roush Fenway Ford leads the field though. Kurt almost got in the wall off turn 2. Risking that outside lane. Junior with a big run on the back straightaway. He's going to blow by the 17 car of Matt Kenseth. Lifted into turns 3 and 4 to keep it off the back of Tony Stewart. We'll share draft behind him on the outside lane into turns 3 and 4. So trying to close in on the 97 of Busch. And Kenseth trying to get up there with his teammate right now. R6, welcome to the stream, by the way. Saya Z, welcome to the stream. Junior side draft Stewart. Lifted to keep it off of him. He's going to lose a lot of momentum. Middle of the corner, but he stays in front of Kenseth in the 17. Junior's lacking a little bit of rear grip with that left rear tire in the yellow on the tire wear indicator. Again, Dale Jr. took right sides only during the green flag pit stops a little earlier on, back at lap 38, 20 laps ago. Had 2 cautions in tonight's race. Both involving Michael Waltrip, and he is out. That was not when I was driving as him, by the way. Derek Booth, welcome to the stream. Junior has dominated the race today. Tony Stewart from the pole led the first 19 laps. Dale Jr. led every lap from 19 to 55. You're getting tight. That dirty air behind Stewart. Had to lift to keep it off the wall. Kenseth's going to get to the inside of the 8. Junior has a really big run, though, on the back straightaway after he backed up behind Stewart. Gets to the inside of Smoke. And he's up to 2nd. So even after losing a little bit of momentum, slides clear. No drafted help in front of Kurt Busch, so he's not going to be able to pull away. Junior's going to reel him in. He's going to have a massive run into turn 1. And he's going to get to the inside of Kurt Busch for the lead. Kurt could not block. Junior trying to not give him a lot of room, at least initially. Didn't go up there and aggressively side draft him. Couldn't make the pass. He'll pull back in line behind him on the back straightaway. Gordon on the pole, Stewart second. That's right. You're right. You're right. Gordon hasn't led a lap yet. But Stewart did start on the front row. And now Kurt Busch has led 5 laps consecutively, about to make it 6 off turn 4. Junior's out of the gas and still got into the wall on the outside. That's insane. I was out of the gas so long, and it still was just going up the track, and into the wall. There was no chance that Dale Jr. could have saved that. So he did everything in his willpower, too, and now he's way out of the gas again. Barely kept it off the wall that time. He's losing a lot of positions. Oh, and he turns himself off Dale Jarrett. And saves it on the bottom of the racetrack. Jesse Talbert, welcome to the stream. And the field will pit, but Dale Jr. was the cause of the caution, so he cannot pit for fuel or tires. As the yellow flag is out for the 3rd time today. Big save by Dale Jr. as he tried to squeeze to the bottom, as he was losing a lot of spots on that outside lane. Got a little too desperate too quick, and turned himself off Dale Jarrett, but kept his car on the bottom of the track as the pack rolled by on the outside. I'm assuming you can probably play this on PC somewhere. I'm not entirely sure. Green flag back in the air. Following the lap 62 caution, or 3rd of the day. Junior couldn't pit for fuel or tires, being involved in the accident, even though he had saved it. Stays out of trouble. He probably used a lot of his tires up, though, I would have to imagine. Remember, those left sides are still on there from the start of the race. He has not changed left sides. Great restart, a great pit stop for the 41 car of Casey Mears as he gets up to speed, looking to the inside of the 99 of Edwards for second. Edwards, the points leader, coming in. First we've really seen him challenging for the lead today. Off turn 4, will he get there? Side by side for the lead. Edwards up high, Dale Jr. down low at the start-finish line. Jr. by inches will lead that lap. Edwards has not led yet, and Dale Jr. wants to keep it that way, and Jr. is going to be clear on the outside into turns 1 and 2. Mears squeezes Gordon towards the outside, really aggressively side drafting him. Edwards now to the bottom underneath Dale Jr. He is there through turns 1 and 2. Oh, contact! He squeezes Dale Jr. into the outside wall, and Casey Mears is in the lead. What was that all about? Carl Edwards. Not clear off turn 2, and squeezed Dale Jr. into the wall, and Chip Ganassi Racing's Casey Mears leads at Daytona. Busch and Edwards almost got together off turn 4 as well. Kenseth about to go 3 wide in the tri-oval. Can't quite get underneath the 5. Junior is holding his own up there on old tires. Man. In the wall again. Back to 9th. He's about... Oh, Nemechek! Oh, he squeezes Dale Jr. into the wall. It was 3 wide off of turn 4. I was about to say Jr. got put 3 wide middle. And he got sandwiched between the 01 and the 88 of Joe Nemechek and Dale Jarrett. We have our 4th yellow of the race. I don't think it was too bad of a hit into the wall for Earnhardt. I think he's going to be all right. He's going to have to pit again and go to the back of the pack. Yeah, Field's going to stay out. Now he's going to lose his track position. Fortunately, that was also not his fault. These guys are not holding their line as they get underneath Dale Jr. You saw that with Carl Edwards off turn 2 when he tried to get around Jr. for the lead. He squeezed him into the outside wall, and then Joe Nemechek, when he was 3 wide, he just ran out of real estate. That was a late move by Nemechek off turn 4 to try to get to the bottom 3 wide under Dale Jr. and back at Lucky Charms strapped under your car. I hope so. Unlucky Charms. Green flag back in the air. 70 laps complete. I'm drafting the 36. Boris said he was trying to get underneath him and Seb threw a block on him. And Junior on the older tires may be in danger of losing the draft on the restart, potentially. He's on the apron trying to get around Sed, and does. My goodness, Boris Sed was throwing some major blocks on Dale Jr., and Jr. wasn't having any of it. Dale's going to need a yellow at some point here if he is going to want a chance. There's a slow car at the very back of the pack as well. 3 wide off the exit of turn 4 up ahead. Will they make it? Oh, they're wrecking! Off turn 4, 1 car down towards the apron. Dale Jr. closing in on him. That's Shane Meal in the 08. Oh, 1 car moves up into Dale Jr. on the outside as Jr. was coming in hot. Scott Riggs in the 10 failing to hold his line. Nearly wrecked the 8 car again towards turn 1. Everything was going so right until it wasn't anymore, and now everything has just turned for the worse for Dale Jr. at Daytona. And that's just my luck at this track on these EA Sports games, it feels. Specifically in the Cup Series. Cup and Truck, at least. Boris hates you from Infineon. This is true. This is true. That wasn't my fault either. He brake checked me going into the carousel. Junior can't even hold it wide open into the corners. I think the damage itself has made the car tight. Once you get into the wall one time. Said closing in hot pursuit behind Dale Jr. right now as well. Oh, he just squeezed Kyle Petty. That wasn't ideal. Reagan Fan 6, welcome to the stream. Need to cause a caution? I can't do that though, because then I can't pit for fuel or tires if I cause the yellow. That was the problem with the last 2. So I try to pride myself on running clean. So what biggest benefactor of all these cautions and the stacking up of the field is Casey Mears in the 41 car right now. What a drive for him today. Chip Ganassi Racing leading just shy of the halfway mark. So it sounds like Michael Waltrip is going to be back out on the racetrack after blowing an engine earlier in the day. He's going to be down a cylinder. Or wrecking or whatever it was that happened to him, bringing out that second caution. Troy Mowbray, welcome to the stream. Baseball Fun number 5. Just do it! Dale Jr. driving. Or Dale Sr. pride himself on driving clean? Probably not. But I do. Oscar Ramirez Herrera, welcome to the stream as well. Red Wolf 1, welcome to the stream. car handle like bricks. Yeah. It doesn't help Junior's got old left side tires from the start of the race either. He's going to have to go the 2-tire stop or he's going to fall a lap down. He could get the free pass, though, if he's the first car lap down. There's some slow cars on the racetrack. They're about to lose a lap that Junior's going to have to try to find a way to stay in front of whenever he goes to make his pit stop. And Petty's in the wall. Oh, I thought Riggs was not going to be clear when he threw that block on the 45, but I guess Petty lost more momentum than what I thought when he scraped the wall. No, I won't pit under yellow if I turn somebody. I don't feel right if I cause a caution and pit for fuel and tires. I just feel like it's an unfair advantage to get off strategy that way. What would that be, Troy? Junior could stay out maybe a couple more laps, and that would be about it. Kyle Busch is just taking the lead in the 5 car for the first time today. Came close to his first career win at Michigan, had a top 5 2 races ago, looking for a top 10 today. Once again, try to inch closer to the chase cutoff line. He's 13th in points coming in. Junior is 11.6 seconds behind Busch. He's picking up a little bit of time when he runs single file behind the 10 of Riggs. So again, a 2-tire stop is going to have to be the case for Dale Jr. again. And it's going to be left side tires this time. So he can stay on the lead lap. Bump drafted Riggs, just knocked him into the wall. That didn't go according to plan. Even in the tri-oval, I guess, you can't bump draft. I thought I was able to do that on the front stretch in the 500. Not tonight. Dale Jr. will pit. His second stop of the day. Everybody else has already pitted twice. It was during caution number 3. We've had 4 yellows so far tonight. One car's in the wall in turns 3 and 4. Everybody was racing around him. Maybe one of the slow cars. Junior not going to catch the break he needed with a caution there, but he's got a ways. Really, as long as we get a caution at some point in this race today, Junior will benefit from it. So left side tires only for Dale Earnhardt Jr. just to try and stay on the lead lap. Full tank of fuel, and they're going to take that half a round of wedge out of the race car to loosen it up just a hair. Just a skosh. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Unbelievable, the terrible luck I have at Daytona on these NASCAR EA games. This is the 12th try to try and win a cup race, a points-paying cup race, on this NASCAR, well, on NASCAR 05, 06, 04. Dale Jr. getting up to speed on the bottom of the track. I hope he doesn't get clobbered by anybody on oncoming traffic. So Dale Jr. will be a lap down at 39th. The goal for him is to be the first car a lap down, which again would be the 39th place position. Yeah, we are about halfway. Actually, exactly halfway. Get up to speed, and then I'll pause it real quick and give you guys that trivia question tonight. Guess I should have taken 4 tires if I knew I was going to be a lap down anyway. I'm going to have to look up a trivia question. We are halfway home, so time for trivia tonight. And a Daytona track fact. Go on to Racing Reference and try to find tonight's question for you guys. That's the road course. Don't want that. All right, here's an interesting question tonight. Yeah, I've got the question. All right. So time for tonight's... That Keegan's mad. What about how the race is going so far? Nah, I don't get mad. Hardly ever. Tonight's trivia question, though, on the channel is this. Who is the last driver to win the 400-mile Daytona race for the NASCAR Cup Series in a Dodge? That is tonight's trivia question. Who is the last driver to win the 400-mile Daytona Cup race in a Dodge? Rick Ware Racing. No, we're fat. I mean, the 8 car has speed. He's just stuck at the back of the pack behind a couple stack-ups on that last restart. That's why he was back there with the back markers. Don't get mad, get glad. There we go. Dale Jr. is going to try to pick these guys off one by one as much as he possibly can. He does have fresher left side tires than the rest of the field. His right sides are a little bit older than everybody else's, though. It's not Casey Kane, not Ryan Newman. Sony Barbie. Welcome to the stream, by the way. It's Sonny Barbie, not Sony. Maybe it is Sony. I think it's Sony. Not Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch never drove a Dodge in the Cup Series. Interesting fact, Toyota has never won what is now the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona. When I was looking through there, that was going to be the first guess, but nobody had won at Daytona. The only 3 wins in a Toyota at Daytona were in the 500. All by Denny Hamlin. And Kyle Busch in 08 as well. So never mind, I guess he did win. Or no, that was with Hendrick Motorsports. In 07, I think he won the night race. I don't think he won at Daytona with Gibbs. Well, if he did, oh well, that's not the question. It's not Greg Sachs. Reagan Fan 6 got it correct. Richard Petty is the last driver to win in a Dodge in the 400-mile Daytona race. 1977 was the year. Career win number 200 in the Firecracker 400 for Richard Petty. That was the last time a Dodge won the 400-mile summer Daytona race. All those years later, nobody else was able to do so. The only winners at Daytona since then for Dodge were in the 500 when Ryan Newman won the Daytona 500 in 2008. And then also when Ward Burton won the Daytona 500 in 2002. Richard Petty is the answer to tonight's trivia question. Rusty Wallace, did he ever win at Daytona? I know he never won the Daytona 500, but I don't know if he won the Firecracker or not. He normally didn't have luck on the super speedways. Kyle Busch has been leading for a little while. Remember, Dale Jr. has led a lot of laps in this race, and has definitely led the most of any driver so far. Pontiac in 84. Oh, you're right. Yeah, 77 wasn't his last win. 77 was not his last win. I don't know why I said that. I say some dumb things from time to time. Truex squeezes down towards the apron to get underneath the 19 car of Jeremy Mayfield. '25 of Brian Vickers right in front of Earnhardt. Somebody's stacking the field up off turn 2 right now. They got all sorts of wadded up as they were 3 wide. I think somebody may have gotten into the outside wall. Big surge of momentum going on right now for Dale Jr. to the inside. His teammate Truex got into him and nearly turned Dale Jr. up the track into turns 3 and 4. He got into Kenny Schrader very, very lightly. Somehow that did not cause a wreck. Biffle in the 16 going to get by. Remember, Junior can't pit for fuel tires if he is involved in an accident. Did not need a caution in that way. He is the first car lap down for the time being. Still. They were still stacked up even that far down the backstretch. I think Schrader came out of the pits after blowing an engine earlier. Wasn't 1980 his last win? Not 84? No, never mind. I'm stupid again. It was 84 because he raced. The last 8 years of his career without a win. He actually won at Richmond, but he got the win taken away as he failed post-race inspection. They took his win away at Richmond. I don't know what year that was, but that would have had him. Well, it was actually before he had his 200th win. At the time, it would have been 199, but they took the win away from him. But he ended up getting to 200 eventually anyway. With a late block on Dale Jr. Jr. looking low into turn 1, trying to get around the 12 car, and does. Not for position. Jr. just trying to get as much track position as he can. Tried to bump draft Biffle even on the back straightaway, and that didn't work. Both the 16 and the 8 got out of shape. Bump drafting has not worked at all tonight for Dale Jr. Sounded like there was another car coming out on the racetrack after blowing an engine earlier in the race, so Schrader, one of them. Michael Waltrip never came out originally, and I think it was Schrader who came out instead of Waltrip. Junior in 39th, 1 lap down. If you're wondering why he is a lap down, he stayed out of the pits during the 3rd yellow of the race today. Everybody else pitted. Then he was involved in the 4th caution. Couldn't pit. So I had to pit under green at lap 80. Or it was lap 79. He came out of the pits at lap 80. So lap 79 is when Dale Jr. pit. He is in the free pass position. If a caution comes out, he would get back on the lead lap, but he is going to need a yellow at some point that he isn't involved in, and we have less than 70 laps to go in this race. Time is ticking. Toxic Punk Young Boy, welcome to the stream. What about 2005? Oh yeah, this is 2005. The 06 Pepsi 400 would technically be on NASCAR 07. This is the NASCAR 06 video game by title, but it's the 2005 season. Junior nearly turned off turn 4, saves it after contact on the left rear from Travis Quaffle. Massive save from Earnhardt. That would have been a caution. Again, that was not his fault, but he would have been involved if he did not save it. Again, he's the only car lap down right now. There's a car on the apron. Kyle Busch has blown a motor. That's how he lost the lead. I was about to say, Casey Mears in turns 1 and 2 took the lead away from Kyle Busch, but it's because Kyle Busch has blown an engine. And Busch is slow now. Trying to limp his way to pit road. That'll be another spot for Dale Jr. What a tough break for Busch. He led laps today, had a shot to win. Just as fast as he was in the Daytona 500 at the start of the season, but tonight will not be Kyle Busch's night. Have a t-shirt from the 06 Pepsi 400. That's pretty cool. One of your relatives at that race? Jimmy Johnson won that one, I do believe. I think he swept Daytona in 06, didn't he? He won the 500. Something's telling me he won the July race also. Well, Jitter's too fast in the draft, and he can't help but bump draft these guys. He doesn't want to lift. It needs to start to lift. Like the 5th car. I thought Borisette was going to take a swing at Dale Jr. there for a second. Leaders may be pitting here soon. They've been out on the racetrack for a long time. Yep, we have some cars pitting off turn 4. Andretti just got into Earnhardt. It's the 4th car to get underneath the left rear corner panel. Dale Jr. made contact with him. Stewart won the 06. Yeah, well, never mind. Casey Mears finished 2nd in the Daytona 500 in 2006. So, coincidentally, he's led laps today, and I think he just pitted from the lead that last lap. Dale Jr. is going to get back on the lead lap once everybody pits. Doubt he's going to gain any positions out of it. Maybe a couple at the back of the pack. That'd be about it. He's got no drafting help now after everybody around him has already hit pit road. And he's going to need a caution at some point to get right back on strategy from now to the end of this race. No, that was 2009, I think, that you're talking about, Charles. Kyle Busch was in the 18 car. And he was trying to block Stewart on the last lap and got turned. That was 2009. Neighbor was like a grandpa. Was there and gave it to you, Tony Stewart, who won. So the first laps, Gordon's led today after starting on the pole. It's taken a while, almost 100 laps, but he's leading. Better late than never. Now, Dale Jr. is not the first car one lap down in the middle of green flag stop, so if we are going to see a caution, it's going to have to be after everybody cycles through. Junior's halfway on fuel right now. The only other thing, can Dale Jr. make it on one more stop? I don't think so. I think he's going to be a few laps shy of being able to make it on one stop. Rod G, welcome to the stream. Dale Jr. closing in on Kenny Schrader in the 49 again, who's down a cylinder. Jr. to the outside. Schrader crowds him a bit. Jr. kept it off the wall, though. "60 laps to go in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona." It was a vicious hit for Kyle Busch. Then he got slammed from behind by Casey Kane, too. Casey basically drove up underneath the rear of his car. Tony didn't really do anything. He kind of held his car straight. I probably would have done the same thing in that situation. I wasn't going to move low and let you block me below the double yellow line. Just kind of similar to what happened when Edwards tried to block Keselowski at Talladega in 2009 as well. Same year. Just hold the wheel straight. Don't get forced below that line. And it's kind of the fault for the guy blocking you. Causes the wreck. Sometimes you just got to learn not to block. Junior is back on the lead lap. Everybody on the lead lap has pit. Jeff Gordon likely not going to cycle to the lead. He's on the back straightaway just off turn 2 right now. He's still trying to get up to speed. Who knows? Maybe he will stay in the lead. He was the last lead lap car to pit, and it looks like he is still out in front into turns 3 and 4 right now. I'd assume still trying to get up to speed. And Dale Jr. is the last car in the lead lap in 36th. Caution now, he wouldn't even need the free pass. He's definitely got to pit for 4 tires when a pit stop ends up happening. The 5 years of Brad and Carl were trying to kill each other. Yeah, that was an ugly rivalry for sure. There were a lot of hard hits in that rivalry between the two. Both drivers had. Caution helps you. Yes, it would. The later it comes, the better. The later it comes in this fuel run, the better. Because that could stretch it potentially long enough that if Junior pits, he can make it to the end on a fuel-only stop without having to take tires and gain track position that way, even though he'd have to restart at the back. So the idea here is if we get a caution before the pit window opens to the end of this race, Junior will pit for 4 tires. And I should say before Dale Jr. would even have to pit again. He's going to pit for 4 tires. He's going to pit for fuel, top it off. During that caution period, they're going to go back to green. And you're probably going to see some cars pit as soon as the window opens to the end with about 35 or so laps to go. And Dale Jr., yes, he would have to make one more stop, but then he could go fuel only, knowing that he would have to push it maybe an extra 10 to 15 laps on his tires, but that would be about it. We saw 10 cautions in the Daytona 500. We've only seen 4 today. And we've gone over 100 laps, which would be over half the distance of the 500. So even if we were running a 200 lap race tonight, we're still not even on pace to having that many yellows so far. And all the accidents so far today have been 1 and 2 car accidents. We have not seen the big one. And for those of you that have been watching the series so far, between all 3 series for that matter on this game, you would know that when there are big wrecks, there are quite a few debris cautions that follow. That could also play in a pit strategy late in this one, of when to pit, when not to pit. Junior's definitely committed to pitting during the next yellow regardless, means he's at the tail of the lead lap. I would imagine everybody else would stay out unless we were within the window to make it to the end. Alternate through the different camera angles for about the next dozen laps. Big one is likely. I'd like a big one, just, you know, take out like half the cars in the field right now. That'd be great for Dale Jr. at least. You'd hate to have that happen, but Junior's going to need a caution at some point. Might as well take a few cars out of the race while we're at it, too. Guarantee us a better finish. Jr. is over 32.5 seconds off the leader, Jeff Gordon. Gordon has not won a race yet this season. We're almost halfway through the entire year, and we are definitely past halfway in the regular season on this Cup side of things. Things are ramping up late. Quarter tank of gas left for Dale Jr. right now. Probably go 8 to 9 more laps. And that'll be about it. I wonder if, honestly, it seems like we've had a lot of different leaders in this race. I think Dale Jr. still led the most laps. He led every lap from lap 19 to 55. Those are the only laps he has led today. But obviously Stewart didn't lead that many before he lost the lead. Gordon hasn't been in the lead long enough. Didn't take it over until the middle of green flag stops. Kyle Busch was leading for a little bit, but then he blew an engine probably well before he can get to 30 laps led. And Casey Mears has led off and on here and there, but I don't think he's had that many laps led either. I think as we run right now, Dale Jr. has led the most laps. But if Gordon continues to lead, he will surpass him, and this could be the second race in a row that Jeff Gordon will lead the most laps, if that is the case. I'd like to say thanks to everybody watching the stream tonight. Well over 20 people watching the majority of the race today, and so far 23 likes. We had 41 likes on last night's Cup Series live stream on NASCAR 06 at Sonoma. Pretty fun race throughout, and Dale Jr. ended up getting the win at the end of that one. Trying to do that tonight in the Pepsi 400. Things not going the way we had hoped so far. 50 to go at the line for Jeff Gordon this time, but still a long enough race to the end. Everybody's going to have to make one more pit stop. For Dale Jr.'s sake, he's probably going to have to take two more for the end of the race because he did not pit during that third yellow earlier. And we've had 4 cautions. He was involved in the 4th, so he could pit for fuel and tires there. So he does have older tires compared to the rest of the field right now. Did a great job during his green flag stops not to lock the tires up either. Just continuously running by himself. He's in 35th. About 1/8 of a tank of fuel left for Dale Jr. At lap 111. For himself, 112 for the leaders. Thoughts on modern NASCAR gaming? They need some work. There's a reason why we play this more than NASCAR 21 Ignition. Although I will be planning on the next NASCAR 21 Ignition live stream on Sunday night. After the Road America Cup race means I cannot do live commentary for that Cup race this weekend because I'll be at the IndyCar race at Mid-Ohio. Giving you guys content from the track that day. A race highlight video and more. But I will not be back at home in time for the start of the Cup race, so no live commentary this weekend, unfortunately. But the following weekend, I plan on doing the Xfinity Series live commentary at Atlanta as well as the Cup race. To make it up for a lost cause of not having anything this week. Looking at about lap 115-ish is likely going to be the stop for Dale Jr. Catching up on Kenny Schrader again. In the 49 car. I think he'll catch him in turns 3 and 4. No, I'm not staying overnight in a hotel. I only live about an hour and a half away from the racetrack. Junior just blew around Schrader again. Kurt Busch is just taking the race lead. Away from Jeff Gordon during this long green flag run. Just slowly reaching the longest green flag run of the race. Michael Waltrip's been out of the race for a while. It was just after lap 40. Because it was after the first set of pit stops. When he had DNF. Rear starting to wear out on Dale Jr.'s race car a little bit as well. Wow, he got really loose off turn 4 as a result. My goodness. Stayed in the gas, drove out of it. Lap 115, so Dale Jr. will pit this time. Doesn't want to risk running out of gas. He's still on the lead lap for now. It'll be the first car lap down once he pits. And it will be likely a 4-tire stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. So he can lock the brakes up if he needs to here just to get down to pit road speed, which he did just a hair, right at 70. That was perfect. 4 tires of fuel for Dale Jr. No adjustments on pit road for his 3rd time today. It'll be fuel only under his last stop, whether it's going to be under caution or not. And he will go a lap down once again. Why not gas only? Because my tires were getting worn out. I want to go fuel only on the next stop, not fuel only this stop, because we're going to go a lap down anyway. Plus, if everybody cycles through the pits, I can potentially gain spots. So again, Junior will be 1 lap down. He's going to need everybody to cycle through now before a caution comes out again. Did not get the caution needed prior, unfortunately. One more lap, we'll go back to the far chase cam for a little bit. Junior in 36, 1 lap down. Have to wait for everything to cycle all the way back through before he ends up needing a caution for the 5th time today. Still have one more field pass left in the race. We'll do that in a couple laps. And we'll go with the 1 car of Martin Truex Jr. for about a 4-lap stretch. Junior's going to have to stay 1 lap down, so when the field catches him, if they catch him before they have to pit again, he's going to have to make sure he stays in front. Because if he goes 2 laps down, he is never going to get back on the lead lap to the end of this race. We'll take that field pass right now with Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car. He has fallen back from where we last saw him. Right now, Truex is in the 18th place position. And kind of all on his own currently. 40 laps to go in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Ride with Truex for 4 laps, so we'll go back to Dale Jr. the rest of the race. At least Truex has stayed out of trouble today, but running mid-pack. Still up 18 spots from where Dale Jr.'s at currently. 1 caution could definitely bring this 1 car back into it. Truex's car almost turns too easy. So I'm driving on the apron off the exit of the corners. Luckily, it's by the time I get to the flatter portion of the racetrack, so it's not spinning the 1 car out. None of the leaders have pit yet. Almost within the window to make it to the end of the race, but not quite. Dale Jr. is going to be about right around 10 laps short, I'd have to imagine, to the end. Maybe 5 to 10 laps short. So he'll set up for a fuel-only stop when the time comes. It seems like Truex is pulling away from the cars behind him, but definitely not closing in on the cars in front of him. EA NASCAR games were really good. I really like this game. It's challenging, but it's a good challenging. Obviously, Daytona's not going well for me, which is insane, though, because Talladega I've won a couple races at. I just lost my self-control there. Lack of concentration, that's all that was. Cost the Truex a couple tenths, had to lift out of the throttle in the middle of 3 and 4. 1 more lap, we'll go back to Dale Jr. But anyway, what I was saying was that Talladega I've had a lot more success at on the EA games, but for whatever reason, Daytona, I mean, like I said, I'm 0 for 11 going into this race. And unless we get a miracle in the final 40 laps, Dale Jr. is going to make myself 0 for 12. The Cup Series in these games. When I finally win at this racetrack in the Cup Series, it's going to be pandemonium in the chat, I'd have to imagine. Well, it looks like we're going to have to wait for that day to come sometime else. We do have 1 more season of NASCAR 06 on the channel. It'll be a custom schedule season. I have a couple more shots to win at Daytona NASCAR 06 at least. And we'll drive back as Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the rest of this race. .36 to go at the line. Can't be too far away. I'd have to imagine for green flag pit stops. Again, we're going to have to cycle all the way through for Dale Jr. to get back on the lead lap. Some cars will pit as soon as that window opens. It looks like there's some cars coming in right now. So green flag pit stops will start once again. I believe our last restart was at lap 78, so if we do go green to the end of the race, we'll go over half this race to the finish without a caution. It's kind of crazy at Daytona. Matt Kenseth's going to take his first lead of the race. Through turns 3 and 4, he's coming back around, trying to lead his first lap of the day. We'll alternate through the different camera angles one final time with Dale Jr. There's Tony Stewart. He was one of the leaders. Junior's not going to be on the lead lap by much when they all pit. I'm not sure exactly when the Winston Million ended. And then I did another $1 million bonus in the Cup Series for a few years before Winston went out in 03. But it wasn't titled the Winston Million anymore. It was a little bit different rules. So I'm not sure exactly what year it was. They need to bring something like that back, though. I feel like it'd bring more eyes to watch the Crown Jewel events, too. Like, a lot of people already watch the Daytona 500, sometimes the Coke 600. That kind of varies from time to time, year after year. But it'd bring more eyes to the Southern 500. I mean, the Indy 500, or, not the Indy 500, the Brickyard 400 isn't on the oval anymore. So, I mean, maybe you throw the Bristol Night Race in there. Casey Mears in the 41 car. Dale Jr. just cycled past. PS2 server should still be on it. I don't know about that. I doubt it. They've probably been closed for a long time. When the 98 Southern 500? I think it was Jeff Gordon. Jeff Burton won it the next 2 years, I think. By the way, Kurt Busch back in the lead again. Took it away from his teammate Kenseth, who was able to get 5 bonus points leading for a little bit. More different leaders we get, maybe there's still a chance that Dale Jr. can get the most laps led. The inconsistency again showing during the summer month races on the season. know, it's kind of fitting. I didn't realize that this is 4th of July weekend and I'm running the Pepsi 400. I mean, it's still June on the calendar right now, but not for long. I didn't even realize that. It just dawned on me. Some of the leaders are coming into the pits again. And everybody's going to cycle through their stops well before Dale Jr. has to pit. Jr. not going to be the first car a lap down for right now, so he needs everybody to cycle through. That 97 car of Kurt Busch is closing in. He's got drafting help from behind him as well. When will they pit? Don't think they're going to pit this time. I'll pause it for a second. Kurt Busch and his Irwin Tools paint scheme closing in on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr. can't afford to go 2 laps down right now. He's going to have to stay in front of Kurt. Tony Stewart right behind him, who is a lap down. We saw Stewart cycle off of pit road a little bit ago. Busch to the outside of Dale Jr. on the back straightaway. Kurt got abandoned by Stewart on the backstretch, and that allowed for Dale Jr. to pull clear of Kurt Busch into the corner, and Busch is pitting this time off turn 4 anyway. So with that being said, it looks like Jr.'s going to hang on to be 1 lap down for now. Tony Stewart back on the lead lap, but is not the leader yet. Carl Edwards in the 99 led that last lap. Another Roush Fenway Ford to lead today. Stewart to the outside. Jr. had to steer left off turn 4 to keep it off of him. And Tony Stewart will be the leader. The way things are looking like they're going to cycle through. Right back to square one from the start of the race. And Stewart's going to get around Dale Earnhardt Jr. Oh, Jr. got in the wall off turn 4. That was all his own doing. Closing in on Kenny Schrader up ahead. Stewart being held up by Schrader. Schrader finally moves out of the way. Dale Jr. in line behind Stewart into turns 1 and 2. Get by the 49. Edwards on the outside of Earnhardt trying to put him 2 laps down into turns 3 and 4, but no help on the outside for Edwards to draft with. Junior's going to have to find a way around Stewart. He doesn't want to have to get the free pass late in this race. Less than 30 laps to go right now as we run. And for right now, he's just going to have to desperately block the 99 of Edwards as well. Second place, we're close behind Edwards. When will Edwards pit? The pressure off of Dale Jr. for the moment. Edwards not going to pit that time either. Halfway on fuel for Junior during this run. All Edwards is trying to do now is stay out as long as he can, hoping for a caution and trap most of the field a lap down before he pits for 4 fresh tires. Blocked by Earnhardt up high on Edwards. Edwards looks low, back straightaway towards turn 3. I think he may be pitting this time. Yep, it does sound as if that is the case. So Carl Edwards will pit off turn 4 this time from the lead. Truex is in as well currently. One more lap, we'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of the race today. Dale Jr. just a little bit behind Stewart. Stewart's already pitted. So no matter what, Dale Jr. will not be on the lead lap. He took 4 tires rather than 2 under that last stop. That's definitely a big game changer in that aspect. So I guess he is going to have to get the free pass position to the end of this race. If a caution comes out, and I have no clue if he's going to be in that spot or not with this long green flag run, I would not be surprised if there were other cars a lap down. Edwards working his way off pit road right now, so is Truex in the 1. Edwards likely going to lose the lead in turns 1 and 2. Kurt Busch back out in front, ahead of his Roush Fenway Racing teammate. Edwards lost a lot of points in the last race, but he is looking like he could get a good finish today. Of course, led his first laps of the race. Earnhardt going to go wide purposely in turns 3 and 4 and allow the 48 of Jimmy Johnson to get around him down low, so that way Junior can share drop behind Johnson. Junior a little bit older tires than the leaders now. Everybody pitting well after Dale Jr. had just pit. Junior made his stop at lap 115. Johnson running the outside lane. Junior would like to get him down to the bottom, ideally. 27 likes on the stream so far tonight. Everybody hit that like button if you have not already, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Very close to 2.4 thousand subs on the channel. Road to 3,000, but of course the road to becoming a NASCAR commentator for future real races down the line. Live race commentary on the daily on the channel, whether it's a video game stuff during the week, giving you the live realistic commentary, or the races on the race weekend. I'll be at the Mid-Ohio IndyCar race this weekend. Coverage at the track there. Race highlight video will definitely be on the grandstands that Sunday night. Therefore, I unfortunately will not be able to commentate this Sunday's Cup race at Road America. That will be on the USA Network, unfortunately. So the next live race commentary will be the following weekend at Atlanta, and I should be able to do live commentary of both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series that weekend. The reason why I can do the Xfinity race, even though it's a Saturday evening, is because usually I work Saturdays, but I'll be at Mid-Ohio again that Saturday for the Truck Series race. But that will start, and it should end, as long as it's not a gigantic wreck fest, it should end an hour and a half to 2 hours before the Xfinity race starts. And if it ends closer to 2 hours before the race starts for the Xfinity Series, I should get home in time. So I'm going to be banking on a quick, clean race. If it goes long in any way, then unfortunately I may not be here before the start of it, but I'll definitely be doing the commentary on Sunday for the Cup race. Xfinity Series, good chance I'll be able to. Obviously, I'll keep you guys updated during Saturday afternoon while I'm at the track if it's looking like I can get home in time or not. Be vlogging that. It's going to be an experience, to say the least. I work full-time at a Home Depot warehouse distribution. Not making enough money on YouTube to work off of this, even part-time for that matter, so I'm still working full-time. Allows me to give you guys the content at the racetracks as well on race weekends like this coming weekend. Like last weekend with the local dirt track, the following weekend in Mid-Ohio, so I try to travel as much as I can. Of course, I like going to races in person first and foremost, but cool to record everything as I'm there as well. And you guys seem to enjoy that content. Matt Kenseth taking it away from Kurt Busch. It is just a roulette of the Roush Fenway cars leading today. 4 different Roush Fenway Fords have led. The only one not to lead so far is Mark Martin in the 6. The 49 of Kenny Schrader's holding some cars up ahead. They got jam-packed in turns 1 and 2. And I will say they slowed down the leaders enough that Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr. are closing in pretty quickly. And quickly to the inside went Johnson to get Jr. to get around Johnson. Goes to the outside to get around Stewart and Schrader. And now Jimmy's in line behind the 8, and Jimmy's in the wall off turn 4. Schrader's coming into the pits. Dale Jr.'s close enough to draft off the 99 of Edwards, so he gained a little bit of time on the leaders. Who knows, maybe he could unlap himself and not have to get the free pass position. I'm not sure it's going to... Oh, I forgot Edwards is a rival. Carl Edwards squeezed Dale Jr. into the wall earlier in the race while battling for the lead, which started pretty much from that point on a chain reaction of events where Dale Jr. just had bad luck in the middle portions of this race. He had led so many laps up until then, from lap 19 to 55. And Casey Mears took the lead 3 wide to the bottom after Edwards did that off turn 2. He just wasn't clear when he slid up wide. I don't think Junior's going to want to pass the 99 anytime soon. Obviously going to sit behind him for the time being, at least until they get close enough that he can catch another car and then make the pass on Edwards. Quarter tank of gas left for Earnhardt. He's going to be able to go until a little less than 10 to go before he pits. If the race stays green to the end, we'll finish with just 4 cautions. And the Pepsi 400 at Daytona will run green the final 83 laps of this race. Junior needed just 1 caution to either get the free pass to get back on the lead lap or in some way, shape, or form just find a way to get back on the lead lap. Never happened. Edwards checked up in the middle of turns 3 and 4, is still checking up as Ken Schrader closes in. Down to the inside goes Dale Jr. Edwards with a little bit of a block. That's going to slow the 8 car down just a little bit more. I think the leaders are going to catch Schrader before the end of the race yet. At least Junior's able to keep some pace up. Continue drafting behind Edwards. They've definitely lost time with the car up ahead of these two. And obviously included on race leader Matt Kenseth. Was about to get into more lap traffic if he isn't already, so I don't even think Junior's going to be in the free pass position before long again if he isn't already. 14 to go this time by for Kenseth. We're going to go from rival to allies with Carl Edwards here before long. Even though he was the one that squeezed me into the wall earlier. Junior had that happen to him about 4 or 5 times. He got squeezed by a car underneath him. Whether it was in the left rear corner panel or he got squeezed into the wall. Dangers of being in the middle of the pack for sure. He's going to give a jump back. Did I say jump? I don't even know what I said. Bump draft is what I meant to say. Down the back straightaway. That's the first time it's worked out successfully for Dale Jr. today. Sending Edwards in. Will be a fuel-only stop for Dale Jr. under green to keep him 1 lap down. Have to worry about losing a 2nd lap, but that extra stop he made during green flag stops is the reason why he is a lap down in the first place right now. Gonna hit Edwards square on the back straightaway, giving him another shot. Definitely worked on the 8-car setup-wise, and I'd say the car's been handling a lot better in the second half of this race as well. Taking a half round of wedge out of it was all they needed. Get extra speed in this race car. Next Cup race on the channel for NASCAR 06 won't be until next week at Chicagoland. We'll have Busch and Truck Series racing the rest of this week yet, leading up to Sunday. Imagine the Daytona race going as an all-nighter. Talk about like this one specifically. Oh my goodness. Like if I had to wait out rain delays virtually as well as in real life. That was a long stream we had on Sunday during the live race commentary this last weekend. Stayed live through both delays throughout the race. Over 7 hours was the stream. Our pre-race starting at about 4:45 Eastern Standard Time, and after the post-race was about a quarter after midnight. So you're saying like something like that, but tonight I couldn't do that after working earlier today. No, thank you. I have been up since 4:45 in the morning. Gonna grab something small to eat right before I go to bed, and I'm hitting the hay after this is over. I'm off tomorrow, though. Oh, in the wall goes Earnhardt. Trying to stay in the gas to at least keep up with Edwards. I don't think he's going to be able to. 10 laps to go at Daytona on the Pepsi 400. And Edwards is going to lose his drafting partner. He was running that middle upper groove most of the time anyway. Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart closing in behind Dale Jr. They're battling for position. Jr.'s going to let one of them get by him. Real life, well, it's happened before. Both for the Daytona 500 and the Pepsi 400. Of course, now it's the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Very low on fuel as Earnhardt off turn 4. 9 to go at the line. Kenza continues to lead. It'll be a fuel-only stop for Dale Jr., so he's going to have to make sure he doesn't lock the tires up when he comes into the pits. He's never got the caution at all. Unbelievable. I mean, even if he had it now, it's going to be a little late in this race to have any shot to win. Junior will stay out one more lap. I don't think he really has much to lose. 8 laps to go. He'll come out of the pits with 7 to go the next time by. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson definitely closing in on Carl Edwards with Dale Jr. drafting with them. Just goes to show the 8 car is still quick. And no big one today at Daytona so far. All single and 2 car accidents through the 4 cautions in the race so far. Junior will pit off turn 4 this time. And in he comes. Can't lock the tires up, can't speed. He has to lock them up to keep from speeding, and just got down to pit road speed in time. Going to be 1 can of fuel, no tires for Dale Jr. He did lock the tires up just a little bit, but didn't want to have a pit road penalty at the end of this race. It's already bad enough. How's Truex doing? Last I saw, he was in 18th, and that was with about 40 to go. And Junior back out and away. Jeff Gordon has just taken the race lead late in the going. And Gordon trying to win his first race of the season and become yet another different winner. Junior's in 35th, so he lost 1 spot pitting. There was 1 other car a lap down behind him. Maybe somebody else will drop out of the race before the finish, and Junior can finish back in the 34th place position. Junior getting up to speed right now on the back straightaway. Jimmy Spencer going to get on by. Not for position, neither is the 149 car. Junior's going to be all by himself right now. I don't think Dale Junior's going to get caught by the leaders again, so he will finish one lap down. Last caution-free race was Talladega. Yep, 2002. I do play Madden. I've been playing Madden 06 during football season the last couple of years, doing some stuff on there. I haven't played... The last time I played a new Madden game was Madden 19. Antonio Brown was on the cover. Dale Jr. is going to stay in front of John Andretti just in case Andretti's poor position to the end of this race. Doesn't want to risk falling behind him and then getting a late yellow that ends the race with less than 5 laps to go, and he can't get back around him and loses yet another spot. On older tires anyway, he lets the 14 car go. He may not be able to keep up with him. 4 laps to go for Jeff Gordon at the line. Andretti will get to the outside of Dale Jr. Not for position. Okay, well, so much for that. I guess we don't have to block behind Andretti. We'll have Dale Jr. draft behind him. If Jr. could even keep up with the 14 car. Definitely lacking rear grip late in the run. Madden on PS2 is the best, yeah. I feel like the only EA Sports games that are still good on a consistent basis is the NHL series. FIFA might be too, I just don't play FIFA. Never been all that big into soccer. The right sides and now the left rear and the yellow on the tire wear indicator for Dale Jr. after going fuel only, and he did lock the tires up going into the pits, but knowing he only had to go 7 laps to the end of the race. From the time he pitted, a little splash and go, half tank of fuel was good enough. Keep him 1 lap down. Kind of content do I post during the NASCAR offseason? This stuff and looking at some more. I did actually a World of Outlaw 2002 gameplay last offseason. The season before that was the Tony Stewart Sprint Car Racing game. I definitely plan on doing a continuation of the World of Outlaw game next offseason because I did not finish it this offseason. But I didn't want it to overlap into the year, so trust me, I haven't forgotten about that. Trust me, I didn't want to get just shy of actually making it to the top level of the sprint car racing in that game, which would be the World of Outlaws, and come to a stop. John Andretti might have a shot to catch the 149 car for position. Final lap, though, for Jeff Gordon at the front of the field. So there'll be an extra lap yet for the 14 and the 8 to get by. No cautions on the final lap, so this race will go caution-free the final 83 laps tonight. Who would have thought? For 4 yellows in the first half of the race. No more after that at Daytona nonetheless. Jeff Gordon is moments away from winning his first race of the season. I wonder if he caught Dale Jr. in the most laps led leading at the end here again. We'll obviously check out the race statistics following this one. Andretti's got a big run off turn 4, closing in on the 149 car for position. Checkered flag back behind these 3 is going to be in the air. And Jeff Gordon is going to win the Pepsi 400 at Daytona from the pole. Unbelievable. You don't usually see too many drivers win from the pole at Daytona or Talladega, but that happened here, and Andretti was able to get around the 149 car through turns 1 and 2 for position. Closing in on the 50 of Jimmy Spencer up ahead. Junior's going to give him a bump draft on the back straightaway to aggressively help out Andretti going into turn 3. And he's going to get underneath the 14. So much for that. Junior had a massive run going into the corner. And they'll keep the 14 in front of him off turn 4. Checker flag in the air. It's going to be a 34th place finish for Dale Earnhardt Jr. That was a rough one today. 0 for 12 now for myself in the Cup Series at Daytona on the EA Sports side of things. Dang. Jeff Gordon led the most laps last night, but didn't win the race. Finished second to Dale Jr. tonight. He led 24, which wasn't the most, but did win the race in the 24 car and from the pole. He was up towards the front at least all night. Great win, though, for Gordon. 2.6 second margin of victory. There were 2 cycles of green flag pit stops to the end of the race from that last caution, so that's why the field spaced out as much as it was for those of you that were just tuning in towards the end. 2.5 hours total time on today's race. That's a pretty quick Cup race, 2.5 hours. Right on the nose. Of course, only 4 cautions helped with that. 15 lead changes in today's race. 159.43 miles an hour average race speed. Again, Gordon had the 24 laps led. Kurt Busch led 26 laps today. Kevin Harvick didn't lead a lap but finished third. Tony Stewart led 19 laps from the second place starting spot. It was the first 19 laps of the day. Those are the only laps he led. Finished fourth. Jimmy Johnson rounds out the top 5. He didn't lead a lap. Carl Edwards led 5 laps. He was the points leader coming in. He's obviously going to gap Junior quite a bit. Junior was only 102 out of first and fourth, and he's probably over Raceworth the points back again. Bobby Labonte finishes in 7th. Elliott Sadler 8th. Dale Jarrett 9th. Great run for both of the Fords at Robert Yates Racing, both having top 10s. And Mike Bliss rounds out the top 10. I believe that is his 11th top 10 of the season. And Jeff Gordon is now the 9th different winner on this Cup Series season. So unbelievable job there. 9 different winners in 17 races. That's how competitive this season's been so far. The drivers who have won so far this year, obviously Gordon tonight, Kevin Harvick's got a win, Kenseth's got a win, Kurt Busch has a win, Tony Stewart's got a win, Ryan Newman has a win, Carl Edwards has 3 wins, Greg Biffle won the Daytona 500, Dale Jr. has 7 wins. So only Dale Jr. and Carl Edwards have won more than 1 race, and they've both won 3 or more in the Cup Series. Check out the rest of the finishers. Martin Truex Jr. finished 14th. Not great. All things considered, he came in below the cutoff line. He needs to have some consistent top 10s here at the end of the regular season if he's going to want to make the chase in his rookie season. Casey Mears, who had 15 laps earlier, fell back to 15th. He must have had some slow green flag stops. Maybe it wasn't as fast when he was losing the draft as things got spaced out there towards the end. And 30 cars finished on the lead lap today. So although Dale Jr. finished a lap down, still got beat 1 lap down by Kyle Petty, Terry Labonte, and Shane Meal. 39 laps led for Dale Jr. today. That is 10 bonus points. He did lead the most laps. All those were basically from lap, 19 to, well, it would have been lap 20 because Stewart led 19. So from lap 20 was the lap led for Earnhardt. 39 consecutive from there. Those were the only laps Dale Jr. led today in the 7th place starting spot. Matt Kenseth finished. Oh, he must have blew an engine at the end of the race. That's how Gordon got the lead then. Because Kenseth was leading when Junior pit, and Junior was a couple laps down. So even though there were 7 to go, really there was probably only, 5 laps to go when we came out of the pits, 5 to go when Kenseth blew up, so that makes sense. Well, I guess I finished in front of him. I didn't even realize that, so that's how I finished 34th still. So otherwise I would have lost a spot at the end. Well, that helped me, I guess. That's a tough break. Led 16 laps, a lot of them late. Started 5th. He was up towards the front all day, but Kenseth blew an engine. He was also in the top 10 in points, just like Dale Jr. coming in. Kenny Schrader finished the race. Jason Leffler did not, but Schrader finished 41 laps down. Mark Martin blew an engine. Ryan Newman blew an engine. Kyle Busch we saw blew an engine. Same lap as Newman. Jimmy McMurray blew an engine. Lawton blew an engine. And Michael Walter finished last tonight. Was the first driver to have an issue. And he actually kind of spun earlier leading up to his issue. At lap 43 was that caution. It was the second of 4 on the day. So total we had 5, 6... Schrader finished many laps down, 7, 8 DNFs at Daytona tonight. And we'll check out the point standings before we get out of here. Yes, I have been controlling Junior the whole season. I'll do a field swap a couple times throughout the course of the race with the other DEI cars, but that's it. The USG Sheetrock 400 at the Chicagoland Speedway will be the next race of this Cup Series season, but again, that will be next week on the channel. The rest of the racing this week, leading up to Sunday night at least, or Sunday night at least, is going to be NASCAR 06 still, but it will be the Busch and the Truck Series seasons. So let me see what race is next for tomorrow night before we get out of here as well. Tomorrow night's live stream will be the Truck Series, and it will be taking place at the Milwaukee Mile. So Truck Series race tomorrow night at Milwaukee, 200 laps around the Milwaukee Mile. Should be a fun one. That'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night will be the live stream. Alrighty. Carl Edwards is still the points leader. Even though Jeff Gordon had gotten the win today, Gordon only 52 points out of first from Edwards. Tony Stewart, third in points, only 59 back. Kurt Busch, only 129 back. Jimmy Johnson, 133 back. Top five, all within one race worth of points of each other still. Greg Biffle finishes in sixth, is sixth in points. And Dale Jr. is 192 points out of first in seventh. So Dale Jr. lost 3 spots in the standings today from fourth to seventh. And it goes from 102 points back to 192 back. So he lost 90 points to Carl Edwards, with Edwards getting the top 10. And Dale Jr. unfortunately finishing 34th, despite the fact Jr. led the most laps today. Mike Bliss is up to 8th in points after another top 10. What a miracle season he has had so far. And Kenseth, after blowing an engine at Daytona, is now the last driver above the cutoff line by only 7 points over Kevin Harvick, who had a top 5 today. Tight points battle towards the back of the chase, and right now Dale Earnhardt Jr. obviously sitting to the good for the moment, but 1 DNF, and he's going to be right there on the bubble. So, and obviously more finishes outside the top 30 is going to hurt him too. That is now 4 finishes outside the top 30 in the last 6 races for Earnhardt. So it seems like if he doesn't win, he is really, really slacking. As of late, at least, for the Cup Series side of things. We'll see what will happen in Chicagoland next week, but also we'll see what happens tomorrow night in the next stream on the channel at the Milwaukee Mile for the Truck Series. How the chase points work, or how did the points work before the chase? Oh, that basically like this, but only it's season long, so there's no chase. But there is a chase in this season. There's no chase for the Busch and the Truck Series season. Those are season-long points formats, but there is a chase for the top 10 here. Wins do not guarantee you a spot. It's just based off the top 10 in points at the end of the regular season, which is 26 races. So we have 9 races left in the regular season to set up the seeding, of course. And if you're first in points, you go in as the number 1 seed with the points lead going into the last 10 races. So obviously we want to fight for that, but we're also trying to fight to get into the playoffs or the chase as well. Don't want to, obviously if we miss the playoffs or miss the chase, then we're not going to win the championship that way either. Trying to make it as easy as we can, obviously. Thanks, everybody, for watching tonight. Again, like and subscribe on your way out if you haven't already. And I will see you guys back and better than ever again tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for some Truck Series racing on NASCAR 6 from Milwaukee.